Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mind Your Venture. So, today we are going to be talking about real estate. So, recently I just moved to Texas. So, we came here from Washington State. We pretty much stayed in an Airbnb for the first month that we were here while we were looking to try to find a place to purchase for a home. Well, there's a lot to it, and I'm going to share a little bit about what we went through and where we are at this point. So we decided to try to get a short-term rental to get settled in a little bit, because the time frame here in Texas, and it's different around the country in different places. So where I came from in Washington State, sometimes it would take 60 to 90 days to close on a home. From my understanding here in Texas, we're going to be somewhere between 30 and 45 days, which is the average time here to close on a home. So we did some interviews. We interviewed a bunch of different real estate agents in the area. There were a few that kind of did not line up with us, not in the aspect of they weren't professional, but you want to shop around and get somebody that understands your personality, understands how you're going to work, and somebody that you can get along with their personality, and understand that they're going to reach out and do the things that you need. Now, we had some that were really into educating the customer, which would be me and my wife, about how to go about the process, what to look for, how to make the purchase, all the money that you need to put down, all the ins and outs of how it all works. We didn't necessarily need all of that, and there was a group that we interviewed that was their specialty, is really helping out first time home buyers, and we decided not to go with them. So we are going to be pretty aggressive in the market on what we want, and so we went with somebody that has a lot of history, somebody that has proven themselves in the industry, and somebody that we know can negotiate prices. And that's really what we're looking for, because we're not just looking to buy a house to live in, but we are looking for investment properties. As you all know, that's what I said we were going to be doing. And so as I learn and go through this journey, that's what we're going to do. So now, we did speak to a few of the people down here, and they all refer you over to people that will process the money for you. So we ended up talking to a few of them as well to make the decision on who is going to work best for us, that understands us, somebody that we feel comfortable working with. And we always ask them what sets them apart. And it's just like interviewing for an employee. If you've ever been in charge of a company or ever been in management, you got to interview and get the right people for the job. And getting a home and getting into real estate is a job that you want to put on somebody to do the legwork for you. If you want to do it yourself and try to save some money, I do not recommend that. It's a hard process to go and search and do all that. And I am fully employed, a full-time job employed, so it's not something that I have a ton of time to go and do. So I put it on them to go find the places for me and give them the details on what I'm willing to pay and what I'm searching for and how much we want to do for the down payments and all the ins and outs of the stuff that goes along with purchasing some real estate. So the first part, I will say, it's very, very important that you do interview more than just one real estate company, and more than just one real estate individual. You want to put some feelers out there, meet with them, preferably even at a house, and ask them what they think of the property and understand what you're getting into. So now I've been in construction for over 30 years, and there's a lot of ins and outs. And when I walk into a home, I see things a little bit differently than just your normal person off the street or your normal person that's out there buying real estate. I can see some things when I get involved on items that I'm not interested in repairing myself. And it's kind of helpful on that aspect that I don't have to have a real estate agent that understands all that necessarily, because I can pick and choose. But I needed to be able to work with somebody that understands that I'm going to be very picky about what I want, and understand my personality and somebody I can get along with. And when it comes down to it, when I go to make that purchase, I want somebody that's going to fight for me to get the best price that I want for the home that we're going to be purchasing. Now, our plan was to come here and possibly get a duplex or a triplex. We decided to put that off for at least the short term. The closing on those it takes longer here to do that. And from what I've seen so far in the area where I live, a lot of these multifamily homes, the rent that's currently being paid in those properties will not cover the mortgage. So the mortgage payment, because of the interest rates being where they are, somewhere between the 6 and 8 range, depending on your credit. Now, mine is going to be in a good range there, but even with that, the rates being as high as they are and what I'm looking for, the rents that are currently being paid out on these are not going to fit necessarily what I'm looking for. So it's going to take me some time to find the ideal investment property for multifamily that I'm really looking at getting into. So for the short term, we had to find a rental, which that is a story in itself. And I'm going to go ahead and cover that right now because it's very important if you're moving to a new location that you do have residency. And finding residency can be quite a challenge. Now, for my family, we are going to be looking hard at properties over the next few weeks, and hopefully the next month and a half or so we'll be able to find a property that we're very interested in and start making some offers on moving in. So we do not want to spend a ton of money on a rental. So most of the rental places here at my location are all wanting at least a 1 year to 18 months of contract on rent. So what does that mean? Well, when you're paying rent to somebody, you're paying them to live in their home or live on their property or in one of their locations, right? So that money adds up over time. So if you're paying 6 months, that's what we were trying to do, a 3 to 6 months rental. Most places will not want to do that just because it's hard and they have to pay money to put it on the market. They have people, most of these places hire out people to, property management companies to manage that property for them. And they end up having to pay for somebody to put it out on the market, to try to set appointments to have people come in and view the property that want to rent it, and then have to do all the process of running background on them, looking at their finances and making sure all that jives so that they don't lose money, which is very important as a property owner. If you're trying to rent things out, you definitely want to go through the right process, and you want to make sure you're picking a good tenant to live in your property that's not going to destroy it and cost you a lot of money. So understanding that, I knew up front that I wanted to be willing to pay a little bit of extra every month to try to get into a 3 to 6 month rental. Now, it is possible to do so, but it is a lot of work. But like I've always said, you really have to, if you want your money to work for you and you want to invest in yourself and make sure that you're not giving your money away to other people, it takes work, and you have to work to have your money work for you. So we had to interview a bunch of different people, and we had to go to a bunch of different agencies to try and find a rental agreement that we could get into that was less than 1 year. Now, we have found a few, and it's good that they are willing to work with us, and it is costing a little bit more to get into that. But in the long run, if I'm paying 7 months of rent, but I can get out at 6 months and not have to worry about my credit being affected, or there are a lot of places here that say, you can move out whenever you want, and we can try to find a tenant for you, or you can find one yourself. And if you find somebody that'll take over the rent, we're just going to charge you, 1.5 times the monthly rate to process the paperwork or whatever. So if you get out at 3, you're going to pay an extra month and a half. Even if you do find somebody to take over that rent, that's pretty much how the agreements work here in Texas, at least in the area where I am. So that can be pretty daunting, and it takes a lot of money to do this process, but if I'm not paying for an entire year and I can take the other 5 months of rent, and just think about, even if it was $2,000 a month, that's $10,000. Now, if you had $10,000, would you rather give that to somebody else to live in their property, or would you rather use that as a partial down payment on a new property for you to live in, right? So this is where you want to really think about what you're doing and try to do the best with the money that you have. So we decided to do a 6-month lease agreement, which cost us a little bit more, but not a whole lot more. So we were able to find a place where we're getting into, and it is about $200 a month more than normal. So to put that in perspective, we would be paying about 16 to 17, and we're paying right around $1,800 a month for this place that we're going to be staying in. Now, $200 a month times the 6 is $1,200, which is less than one extra month, right? But I'd rather spend that extra $1,200 and get the $10,000 back to be able to invest, right? So I'm able to take that $10,000 I would be paying out for the remaining of the year and put that back into a down payment and keep my own money and have my money eventually work for me. So the plan is we're going to stay here for 6 months in this place. Probably will not stay the full 6 months. If we find a place sooner than that, I'm already committed to and understand that the money that I'm spending for the 6 months is already spent, right? So take that into consideration, understand what that means for you when you're trying to do this, and know that you're going to be out that money, and there's really no way to get out of that situation. So without breaking contracts, which is not something that I recommend. So now you're gonna understand that you have that. That'll give you plenty of time and make the move really easy on you. So 6 months, if you find a place in 3, that gives you almost 3 months to get the stuff out of that location and get it into your new home. So you're not putting a lot of pressure on yourself to go through the process, right? Now, once that rental agreement is done and we move into the new home, after a year, you can refinance. And a lot of people do that. And I need to learn a lot more about this, and I will be sharing it as time goes on to help you understand what that means. Now, a lot of people do this and they refinance the home, and they take the money or whatever they get from that and they roll it over into another property. So what my wife and I have decided to do is the next property we get is going to be a multifamily property to where we can either move into part of it or stay where we are in our house that we find, and find a good investment property where the rent that's coming in is going to pay for the mortgage, right? And then some. You need it to pay more than what is the payment so that you can put some money aside for repairs. And when people move out, you got to go in there and you got to do touch-up paint and sometimes replace carpets. Your appliances go down and things like that you have to make sure are maintained, and you need money to do that. And you want the money to come from the property that is supposed to be generating the money for itself. So that is the challenge, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. And I believe there's places out there now. The area that I'm in is a place that's growing fast. There's a lot of new construction going on. It's been a little interesting going and looking at some of these houses. I've seen some that people are just trying to flip quickly. They were purchased about a year ago at $100,000, and now they're selling it for $225,000 to $250,000. You go in these places. There are some that I've been in which kind of blew my mind. We went into some of them and they did not even have any outlets in the bathroom at all. So if you want to blow dry your hair, or you want to plug in your electric toothbrush or your water pick or whatever else, your razor, you can't plug them into the bathroom because there are absolutely zero outlets in these fully remodeled houses that people are flipping, which it really did blow my mind. I've never seen anything like that before. So it's been interesting, and I look forward to sharing more of what we find and keep you guys updated on how the process goes, and in hopes that you learn something from it as I learned. So as always, onward and upward.